So on number 1, we want to solve for t, and t is on the left side of this equal sign. So you want to get t by itself. Now, you got to think about what math is going on here. It doesn't say t plus 7. If it said t plus 7, if you were actually adding 7, you would get rid of the adding 7 by subtracting 7. But it doesn't say t plus 7. It actually says 7 times t. So it has multiplication right there of 7. And if you don't want that multiplication of 7, you have to do the opposite, which would be dividing by 7. Cancels out. What you do to one side, you do to the other. And whenever you can't divide, you just leave it like a fraction. So your answer is t equals x over 7. And that's it. Let's move on. Let me skip around here. Let me go to number 3 here. They want us to solve for r. Now r, you want to get by itself on one side of the equal sign. The problem is it on the left side of the equal sign or the right side of the equal sign? It's on both. Right? You have an r here and an r here. There's r's on both sides of the equal sign. So you don't want it on both sides. You want it on one side only. So what would be a smart thing to do? Get rid of this r or get rid of this minus r?
Minus r.
Get rid of the minus r. If you get rid of that minus r by doing the opposite, plus r, that'll eliminate. And what you do to one side, you do to the other, plus r over here. And you will end up with 2 r's on the right side. And on the left side, you're going to have a q. Now, that would be cool if they were asking us to solve for q, because we would be done. It says q equals 2r. But they're not asking us to solve for q. They're asking us to solve for r. So I still need to get this r by itself. There's a 2 right in front of it. Now, again, I'm not adding 2. It doesn't say r plus 2. It says 2 times r. So to get rid of multiplication, you're going to do the opposite of multiplication, which is division of that same exact value. Divide by 2, and guess what? We're done. It says q divided by 2, which you can't really do. You just leave it like a fraction, equals r. It'd be better to write the r on the left side. R equals q over 2. Let's jump to number 8. They're asking us to solve for n. So where's n at? N is on the left side of the equal sign. It's right here. It's definitely not by itself. We need to get rid of the 3. We need to get rid of the d. So we want to get n all by itself. N is the movie star. 3 is the movie star's buddy. This loner over here, you don't care about this guy. Let's get rid of that d first by doing the opposite of positive d, which is subtracting d. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Subtract d over here. Your new equation, the equal sign comes straight down. The 3n is left over on the left side. 1 take away d, you can't really do. It's like you have $1 and you want to take away a donkey. That doesn't work. You just rewrite it. 1 take away d. Okay, you can't do it. So what else is there to do? You want to get n by itself. You don't want this 3 that's being multiplied in front. So you don't want the multiplication of 3. You're going to have to do the opposite, which is dividing by 3. And when you do to one side, you do to the entire equation. So you could say this divided by 3 and this divided by 3. But since you can't really divide either of those by 3, you might as well just put the whole thing divided by 3. Either answer is fine. I'm just going to put the whole thing divided by 3. So that's my answer. N equals 1 minus d, all divided by 3. That's my answer right there. Let's try, let me jump around to number 10. They want us to solve for x right here. X is on what side? The left side or the right side of the equal sign? Here's the equal sign. It's on the left side. Is it by itself?
No.
So what do I do?
Minus a.
So if I want to get, if they tell me solve for x, they're telling me solve for x. That means that x is a movie star. That's the important letter right there. That's what you want. You don't want, I mean, if this is a movie star and A's with the X, that means that A's a movie star's buddy. It's kind of cool if you meet somebody that's a friend of a movie star. But this guy is all by himself. It's a loner. You don't really care to meet this guy, right? So let's get rid of this guy. So how do you get rid of the minus C? You add C. If you start getting rid of the movie star's buddy before the bum, then you're going to get the wrong answer, right? So let's get rid of that minus C by doing a plus C. What you do to one side, you do to the other side. And yes, a negative C and a positive C, that's no more C's. They cancel out. On the right side of the equal sign, B plus C, you cannot add bananas and cookies, right? Those are totally different terms. So we're just going to leave it 1b plus 1c. 1 banana plus 1 cookie is not 2 bookies. It's just 1 banana and 1 cookie. So let's bring down the left side, ax. So you have ax equals b plus c. You still need to get rid of the multiplication of a right in front of it. So you're going to have to divide by a. That'll cancel out. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side. I want to do it to the entire other side, divide by a. So I do have x equaling b plus c, all divided by the variable a. Now, I do want to mention that since I have a variable in the denominator, I want to give an additional statement to this answer. I want to say, but a cannot be 0. Because if a were 0, so this is an additional part of the answer. If a were 0, the whole fraction would become undefined, which means that it would not work. So you want to state that a cannot be 0. If you ever have a single variable as your denominator, you want to state that that variable is not, or it cannot be 0. Let's jump to number 12. So right here they want us to solve for c, and c is clearly on the left side of the equal sign. It's over here. It's definitely not by itself. So what do I do first? What do I want to get rid of first to get c by itself? Yeah, you want to get rid of this loner, right? So right, C is a movie star, B is a movie star's buddy. This guy's a loner. Let's get rid of that guy first. You're going to subtract the 3g. Now when you do to one side, you do to the other. Subtract 3g. So 3g, take away 3g, that's no more 3g's. It's just gone. So what do I have left on the left side? I have bc equals 2k minus 3g. Again, you cannot subtract terms that are not alike. If this were like a 2k minus 3k, yeah, it would be a negative 1k. You could actually do it if it were k and k. But it's k's and g's. You can't do that, so you just rewrite it. For my final step, I almost have c by itself. You have to understand what's happening here. You really have b times c. So you don't want that multiplication of b, so you have to do the opposite of multiplying, which is dividing. And you're dividing by b, that'll cancel out. And of course, what you do to one side, you must do to the other. And ladies and gentlemen, we are pretty much done right there. So you do have c equals 2k minus 3g over b. And what's the additional statement? But what? B cannot be equal to 0. So there's your answer, including the additional statement that b cannot be 0, because that would make the whole thing undefined. Let's try number 14. So you want to solve for c, and c is right here. So what do I get rid of first? The 6j. How do I get rid of that positive 6j? By subtracting it, by taking it away, because that'll become nothing. Well, you do to one side, you do to the other. Thank you. We have 8c that comes down equals 5p minus 6j. And then you divide by 8. Thank you very much to both sides, and you're done. C equals 5p minus 6j over 8, and you do not need an additional statement here because 8 is in the denominator, and 8 will always be 8. It'll never become 0. That means that this will never be undefined. 16. Number 16, here we go. You want to solve for c again. I don't know why we always want to get c by itself, but here's c. Now c is in the numerator of a fraction. So let's first get rid of the fraction. And how do you get rid of a fraction? By multiplying everything by the denominator of the fraction that you want to get rid of. So you multiply the left side, that'll cancel out. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side. So multiply the d by 2 as well. So what do I have left? I have an x minus c equaling 2 times d. Now at this point, you want to get c by itself. It is a minus c right now. I need to get rid of this positive x. So you subtract x to get rid of the positive x. That'll cancel out. What you do to one side, you do to the other. Subtract x over here. And of course, you can't really subtract x's from d's, so you're just going to rewrite it. Let's rewrite the whole thing. I do have a negative c equaling 2d minus x. That's right. Now for my final step here, I don't want this to be a negative c. I want it to be a positive c. So I could either multiply both sides by -1, which means multiply everything by -1, or I could divide everything by -1. Whatever you choose. I'm going to multiply everything by -1. Check it out. I'm going to put times -1 right here. I'll put it in parentheses. Times -1 right here. Times -1 over here. Okay? So when I say -1 times negative c, that will make it a positive c. Instead of a positive 2d, what am I going to have? A negative 2d. And instead of a negative x, what am I going to have? A positive x. And ladies and gentlemen, we are done. C equals negative 2d plus x. Let's jump to number 18. All right, number 18, let's get a by itself. No, b by itself. I'm sorry. It says solve for b, not a. So here's b. It's in the numerator of a fraction. Number 18, you want to get b by itself, right? They're telling you solve for b. So here's b. It's on the numerator of a fraction. So first of all, you can't worry about getting b by itself until you get it out of the numerator of the fraction. In other words, you want to get rid of the fraction. So let's multiply both sides by a 7. So the 7 cancels out, and you will have b minus 4z equals 7a. Now you want to get b by itself. Here's b. You don't want this minus 4z. So to get rid of something, you do the opposite. And the opposite of minus 4z is plus 4z. Because if you have 4z's and you take them away, it'll cancel out. It'll be nothing. Now what you do to one side, do to the other side, plus 4z. And you can't really do 7a plus 4z because they're not like terms, right? That's like saying I have 7 apples. I want to add 4 zebras to them, right? That doesn't work. So you're just going to leave it exactly the way it is. So here's your equal sign. The b is now by itself. That was your whole goal. And over here we said we couldn't add them, so it's really 7a plus 4z. And that is your answer to number 18. So I've pretty much done most of the even problems on this video. We're supposed to do the even ones. I would practice all, but we're not going to have a quiz directly on this stuff, but we will have a midterm this Friday, and we'll be coming up with videos for the midterm shortly. Let's just do one more here. Number 5, we want to get a by itself on one side because they're telling us to solve for a. So what should I do? How about this? Where's a? Is it on the left side or the right side of the equal sign? It's on both. There's an a here and an a there, right? So you don't want it on both sides, so you want to get rid of one of them.
7A.
Let's get rid of that 7a by doing the opposite of 7a, which is minus 7a. And what you do to one side, you do to the other side, subtract 7a. So what do I have here? I have a negative b equals, now you could actually subtract the a's with the a's. I have 15 apples. I take away 7 apples. I will have only 8 apples left, right? I didn't have to rewrite it exactly the way it is. I could actually combine 15a, take away 7a. So now for my final step, I need to recognize that it says 8 times a. So to get rid of the multiplication of 8, I'm going to divide by 8. What I do to one side, I do to the other side. And there's my answer. A equals negative b over 8. Now I would write it with the a on the left side. And not only that, the negative sign that's up here, you could put it in the middle. Don't put it on the bottom, but you could either leave it up on top or put it in the middle. It's totally up to you. So a equals negative b over 8.